Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum from the beautiful city of Lisbon, Portugal, and a small town called Seychelles by the sea, bordering the ocean. It's been a great time here at the Sufi retreat with our friends of light from the Inayat order of Sheikh Hazrat Inayat, and we have been teaching his book, The Alchemy of Happiness, every day in the mornings, and studying the 99 names of Allah and doing zikr in the evenings. It has been an incredible journey. But we have found so many incredible teachings in this alchemy of happiness that we thought it would be an incredible opportunity to create some video teachings from this book on the alchemy of happiness, the science of happiness, as it is taught by Hazrat Inayat in his book. And we will make a series of videos from the teachings of this book. And we start with the Alchemy of Happiness, chapter 1, where he says, the soul itself is happiness. This is a very important concept. The soul itself is happiness. Happiness is not something that you find. The premise of the first chapter and the premise of this book is that happiness is not something that you find. Happiness is not something that comes from an outer source. Happiness is your nature. The nature of the human being is happiness. To be happy is a part of your nature. He even mentions the Hindu concept. There is a Hindu saying that man looks for pleasure and gets pain. Meaning, looking for it. We had a song in America, looking for love in all the wrong places. People search for happiness, search for happiness, search for happiness. But happiness is a quality of your being. It's not something that you find on the outside, okay? He says, pleasure is only an illusion of happiness, a shadow of happiness. And in this delusion, man perhaps passes his whole life seeking after pleasure and never finding satisfaction. In Western societies, we think that, well, I don't think that, but in Western societies, a lot of people think that the pursuit of pleasure is the pursuit of happiness. But often, the pursuit of pleasure results in pain because you're looking at a source of happiness from an outside source. And he even says, the more we study life, the more we realize how rarely there is a soul who can honestly say, I'm happy. So we have in the science of the study of the 7 levels of the soul, there is a station called the soul at peace, which is the 4th station. So you must go through many tests and trials. You have to defeat the nafs, hawa, dunya, shaitan, the 4 enemies, until you ascend to a station beyond lust, anger, greed, and hatred, to a station of the soul at peace. This is the 4th station. And then the 5th station, it is in the 5th station of the soul where you begin to experience happiness in your life because you go into a state of ridda. Ridda is a station where you are content with everything that comes to you, whether it be good, whether it be positive, whether it be negative. From the soul at peace, you can ascend to accepting everything in your life. And this station of acceptance It's coming from your soul being at peace. And when the soul begins to be at peace with everything that happens, that happiness that is latent in the soul as a quality of your being will begin to manifest from being at peace, okay? And that is the fifth station, or the nafs radia, the soul that is content with everything. This is the beginning of happiness after you first establish peace in your life. When the peace is established, the essence of the soul can begin to blossom and bloom, and the essence of the soul is happiness, okay? He says again, in very first chapter, happiness is in your own being. Your own self is happiness. Okay, so alhamdulillah, he gives so many teachings on happiness where he says, the one who is really happy is happy everywhere, in a palace or in a college, in a palace or in a cottage, in riches or poverty, for they have discovered the fountain of happiness, which is situated in their own heart. So long as a person has not found that fountain, nothing will give them real happiness. So the fountain of happiness is inside of your own heart, and it is the essence of your being, the essence of your soul. Another statement, he says, God is happy. Imagine that. Allah is happy. We have Satchi Ananda in the Hindu concept of the deity that is worshipped. It said that the deity has three qualities, that Allah, Brahman, has three qualities. The three qualities of the divinity are Sat, Chi, Ananda. Sat, which is truth. Chi, consciousness. And Ananda is bliss. So an aspect of the divine being, who is in reality your true self, is that aspect of Ananda, which is bliss, which is happiness. And Hazrat Inayat goes so far as to say that God is happiness. Now, he gets into a very, very allegorical teaching that I really want to go into and explain, where he's talking about the science of alchemy. He says that there are many concepts of what is true alchemy. Hazrat Inayat Khan's precept is that alchemy is the science of becoming happy. Alchemy is the science of happiness. That's why the name of the book is The Alchemy of Happiness. He says, the whole process was explained by the alchemists in a symbolical way. So the process of becoming happy, saying that God is happy, the alchemists gave chemical formulas, different processes, working with base metals, changing them into gold. But he's saying that the reality behind the alchemist formulas was not just changing base metals into gold. It was an outward symbol of an inward reality of discovering the process of becoming happy. So I want to read directly from the book and give his explanation of the alchemist formula and the symbols. He says, the alchemists say gold is made out of mercury. The nature of mercury is to be ever moving, but by a certain process, the mercury is first stilled, and once stilled, it becomes silver. The silver then has to be melted, and onto the melted silver, the juice of an herb is poured, and then the melted silver becomes gold. He's saying that this whole chemical process of changing silver into mercury and the mercury into gold by pouring an herb on the melted silver is the process of being on the journey of becoming happy if you know the symbols inside of the formula. And he gives an explanation. He says, the real interpretation of this process is that Mercury represents the nature of the ever restless mind. He is saying that we start with Mercury, and Mercury represents the ever restless mind. He said the silver is the mind at peace, and he says the mind becomes settled by meditation, focus, and by meditation, focus, and the science of breathing techniques. By focusing on one object, the process of concentration for stilling the mind, a special method is necessary, as taught by the mystics, and the secret is to be learned by the science of breath. Okay, so he says in the beginning we have Mercury, which is the unsettled mind. By the process of concentration, that Mercury is transformed into concentration and breathing techniques. The Mercury is transferred into what is silver. And he said the process in the alchemical formula says the silver has to be melted. He said it is the love and the fire of love for the divine that is the spark that melts the silver. So the silver being melted, he's saying, is the silver must be heated before it can melt. And with what? With the warmth, which is the divine essence of the heart of man, through love, tolerance, sympathy, service, humility, unselfishness. And this light, the love element, he says, the love element, the heat of love, the desire for God is what melts the silver. Then the alchemist formula says, the melted silver must be turned to gold. And he said the melted silver, it says, onto the melted silver, the juice of an herb must be poured, and that turns the melted silver into gold. So he says, first you have love. It could be love for a person, love for a relationship. But he said, the love melts the silver. And then that love, he said, the herb that is poured onto the melted silver is the love of God. The love of the divine must come into your consciousness. The love of all of the universe, the love of Allah specifically, is the herb that is poured onto the melted silver that turns it into gold. And he said that gold represents happiness. Gold represents happiness. So this is the next stage is the herb, which is the love of God. But the love of God alone is not sufficient. He said we must also have knowledge of God. So knowledge of God accompanied with the love of God is what turns your life into a state of gold, which is happiness. So this is all being taught in the first chapter of the Alchemy of Happiness by Hazrat Inayat. Inshallah, later today or tomorrow, while we're here in Barcelona, astaghfirullah, we're not in Barcelona, Spain, while we're here in Portugal, in the beautiful city of Seychelles, we will give videos based on this teaching of Hazrat Inayat to cover what we are teaching here in the Sufi retreat. And I will do my best to make a series of videos that will be sent out once a week, only for those who are on Patreon. MashaAllah. The next chapter is the aim of life, and we will give a video on the next chapter today or tomorrow, but they will be released weekly on the Patreon. Alhamdulillah for the beautiful teachings of the Alchemy of Happiness from Hazrat Inayat. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal latina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Also on YouTube, I have a video that I did several years ago called the Happiness Project with Sheikh Sufi. And in the video, I'm saying some of the same principles that he's saying in the video. The concept of the Happiness Project video is happiness is not something that you find. Happiness is something that you are. Assalamu alaikum.